NRDA restoration projects are designed to compensate the public for injury to natural resources. Well-designed restoration projects will restore, replace, or acquire the equivalent of lost resources and will consider the needs of the public during the planning process. When considering the needs of the public, consider how nearby disadvantaged or overburdened communities can be involved in the planning, implementation, and monitoring of restoration projects. After watching this video, you will be able to write the monitoring questions you will address through the NRDAR project, generate lists of potential partners in the community, develop basic customer discovery interview questions in the context of NRDAR needs, build relationships with community members, know where to find additional information that builds on this video series. Start by writing down the monitoring question or questions that you will address through the NRDAR project. Here are a few examples from existing NRDAR projects. Did numbers of breeding migratory birds or diversity of species using the site increase post-restoration? Have native plants increased in number, diversity, or percent cover increased at the site post-restoration? Is the plant community composed of fewer than 50% invasive species following the first few years of restoration activities? Once you've identified your research question, write a list of potential community partners that might be interested in the restoration project. Don't worry if your list isn't very long. We'll talk about how to address that later. If you already have a project you're working on, take a moment to pause this video and start your list of partners now. Once you have a list of potential partners, find out if their needs and goals intersect with your restoration goals. The best way to have meaningful conversations with your potential partners is to set up individual, in-person discussions. Write down a list of questions you'd like to cover and take them with you to the interview. When you talk to each partner, ask questions about them and their organization. Also ask them for recommendations about who else you should talk to. Take notes about what they say so you can capture the conversation for later review. We'll be using these notes in Module 3. Your goal during these discussions is to learn as much as you can from the potential partner. It's not to share all of your goals for the project. That comes later. If in-person interviews aren't possible, virtual meetings are the next best option. You'll still be able to pick up body language cues when the person is talking, which can be important to gauge how they are feeling. In the business world, this method of quick, deep learning from potential partners early in your process is called customer discovery. Customer discovery allows you to fail fast by learning about potential roadblocks or discovering a new idea early so you can pivot and reshape your project before you've gone too far down a particular path. It's an excellent strategy for learning as much as you can about your partners before you begin implementing your restoration project. Here are some common effective questions you can ask during your conversations. What does a typical workday look like for you? What drives your organization and why? When you think of restoration site X, what comes to mind and why? What would you like to see your restoration site X look like in 5 years and why? How do you engage the public in the work that you do? What are your biggest challenges and pain points working with the public and why? Who else do you think I should talk to, learn from, about this restoration site? Would you like to be kept in the loop as we move forward with our project? If you want to explore these ideas further or find additional questions to ask, do an internet search of customer discovery. There are blogs and books about the subject to inspire your discussions. Here's one way a customer discovery interview might sound.
When you think about the river site, what do you think of?
Well, that river is pretty dirty and dangerous. The slopes have been washed out during recent storm events, and it's not safe to go down now. Plus, people throw a lot of trash.
If you could improve the site, what would you do?
Great question. I think I'd fix the banks so people can actually get to the river and interact with it. Then I'd put in a walking and biking trail and a bench for people to sit on. I'd love to see a fishing pier installed and maybe a waiting area for kids so that our community can reconnect with the river.
Many advocates of the customer discovery process encourage setting up meetings with each partner that are 15 to 30 minutes each. You want to respect their time as well as yours while gaining as much insight as possible. Set a goal to talk to 5 to 10 people over a 2-week period. It may sound ambitious now, but you'll be surprised at how much valuable information you can learn when you commit to the process. Start by blocking off an hour or two in your schedule and talk to 2 to 4 people during that time. The conversations will feel easier once you've done a few. If you're nervous, schedule the early discussions with people you are comfortable with to make it easier. This process is most successful when project leaders are part of the conversations because they receive all of the information firsthand. But if you just aren't comfortable talking with people on your own, consider teaming up with someone you work with or a project partner and conduct the interviews together. The more people you meet with, the better. When someone recommends a new contact, set up a meeting with them as soon as you can. You know you've done enough interviews when you feel you've covered all the potential partners for the project and have enough feedback to take the next step. Congratulations! Once you've made it through the customer discovery process, you've successfully begun the process of building valuable relationships with the community that will be most impacted by the restoration work. In the next video, we'll discuss how to take the information you learned from your customer discovery and distill it into something you can use to create a meaningful citizen science monitoring program at your restoration site. For more information about this video series, visit doi.gov/restoration.